How awesome would it be if you could catch your car in oversteer situations like all the time, keeping it alive, keeping it on track, not going off into the barriers, and actually finishing the race, and have this confidence as well. I can promise you one thing, watching this video 2700 times will not learn you this skill. You can watch this video 2700 times. That's very good for the algorithm. So I'm not gonna stop you, but if you actually want to learn it, so you actually need to go out and practice this a little bit. Not too much, because we're not trying to drift here. This is just when you get into trouble with your setup, or there is some rain, or you got some tire wear on the back, or you got some damage. This skill is gonna be vital to catch your car when it's like not predicting in the way you want it to. In this video, I'm going to explain practices. How do we learn oversteer and how do we keep our car in track? Let's go. So I'm having this really weird setup, and I'm gonna explain to you how I'm going through this section on Spa with the setup and the way I'm controlling it. Now, this went very fast. I'm gonna break it down very slowly. This also, I'm just correcting the car here constantly, right? Now you're gonna have to watch this back a few times, but what I'm actually doing when I'm counter rotating the steering wheel, that initial moment actually needs to happen as soon as you feel the car sliding, but then when you're finding some correction, you need to counter rotate your steering wheel almost with the twice amount of speed. And you really need to get a feel for this and actually do this a lot of times to get, like over here as well, you see how fast I am counter rotating the steering wheel, but then to bring it back you actually need to do this way faster, because if you don't do that, then you're going off to the other side. So in this first initial moment, we're correcting the car and bring it back to its like point where we want it to go. But then to counter rotate it, you actually need to bring it back way faster. And now I'm going to show you like the initial correction most of us can do, but to bring it back with the fast counter rotation, that's actually the harder skill to do. This corner, I'm correcting the steering wheel, but I'm not fast enough to like counter rotate it in a proper way. So we slow-mo it down here, we're braking, we're trail braking, car gets way too much grip, we are correcting the car, but now we're not fast enough with the initial counter rotation. So a lot of us will do this correction all right, but then the counter rotation a lot of times is too slow. The absolute reason why I'm so keen on the Aston Martin is it's so forgiving in this area as well, and especially also the front engine cars will be so much more forgiving in this area, because if you have a rear engine car, then you need to be way more on your toes to catch it in the beginning, and also for this counter rotation. Now when I'm looking this backwards, there is also the throttle and braking behavior to consider. So I'm bringing like the previous example here, I'm correcting the car and also counter rotating, but I'm also hitting the throttle to get that nose up of the car, to make that front get rid of all this dominance, because when we're on throttle we're gonna lose all this very heavy grippy effect on the front, and I just don't have enough time to explain it in the slow-mo, so I'm slow-moing it down even more. So here I am like correcting and I'm hitting the throttle because I feel like I'm already like sliding sideways, but I want to be on throttle to keep pace in the car and get rid of the grip on the front. So when we apply throttle, let's say we didn't apply throttle, then it's gonna be impossible to control as well. So we need to apply the throttle here in this situation. Oversteer master, yeah, beautiful, yeah. So you can use this on a lot of variety of tracks. So if Spa is not really your thing, or you want to try this on a different track, this could work basically everywhere. Traction control is still pretty high, but yeah, if you bring this down even less, then Yeah, it's gonna be even more aggressive, but it's a pretty freaking aggressive. This is actually not fast, but this is just like so to explain you a little bit, if you want to do this with a different car, minimum wheel rates on the front, maximum on the back, no range. So it means no range means like the least amount of grip, and on the front maximum range. So this car will always be biting to the max on front, and it will oversteer into you. Also the brake bias, very low brake bias, makes the car rotate, makes the car oversteer. Then on the anti-roll bar, absolute the max, and very low front anti-roll bar. This is just pointing like this car needs to oversteer. Dampers, nothing special. Again, massive ride height on the back. Pretty much an uncontrollable car. Quick side note, this is going to be super important. The reason why steer ratio is so important in this manner is this is how much of steering input will determine how you're gonna save it, and how much like if you put this very high, you need to use the steering wheel more to catch it and to bring it back. And if you're going to have in this sim racing career on Assetto Corsa Competizione, going to play around with all the steer ratio all the time, you will not get into a predicting behavior of your car. So let's say the Austin, I pretty much always use 15. If you're using a Ferrari, I would just advise you to go for a very high value and always keep it like that, because then you will actually be way more able to predict how much like input you're going to need to use when you get into an oversteery or like a dangerous situation. You'll gain a bit of understanding what oversteer is and how to control it with like counter rotation, throttle application, or like different moments of braking. Then the next time you're in like competitive race, you have so much experience with a little bit of oversteer. Let's say you were just like very aggressive on steering and you got a little bit of an oversteer situation, then you have some experience and you know what to do. Like unconsciously you will just like do the motions, you will save it, and then people watch some sort of replay, but he saved it. Yeah, it's good. Yeah, could be helpful. Now if this was helpful, please hit that like button, that really helps me out. But all of this like oversteer stuff is just not gonna work if you don't know how to like learn a new track. So I would advise you to watch this video next, where I explain how to learn a track 3 times faster than you're doing now.